Bill Musgrave for his media session. Go ahead and put your, if you'd like to ask a question, go ahead and let me know in the chat and we'll get started. We'll start with Jeff Ferrado from SI.
Hey, good morning, Bill. How you doing?
Good, thank you. Good morning.
Good. I just had a question. You've been on the job now at Cal for a number of months, and you coached so long in the NFL. I'm wondering, just give me a sense of how you're liking being back in college. I know you had a couple years at Virginia, but this is a bit of a departure. What are you liking about it? What has anything surprised you? Something you didn't remember about coaching in college? And it certainly is an unusual year, but give us a sense of how you're liking it so far.
Oh, I'm really enjoying it. We've got a terrific group of players. The roster is a strong roster and good people, good students, and exceptional athletes. And the staff, I've really enjoyed the staff that Justin has put together. And we've got Angus and Aristotle and myself as new guys on offense. So we're really gelling.
Did you ever think you'd coach in college again after all those years in the NFL? And what are the biggest differences you're finding?
Oh, I look forward to coaching at all levels, high school, college, or pro. So I'm good anywhere. And there's a lot of similarities. There's not as many hours in the day that you get to spend with your players. So you just got to be a lot more efficient and be more creative and making sure that they're prepared when they get out there on the field.
Has there anything surprised you?
Well, no, I think I've got a great group of coaches that I work with. They help me every day, and really enjoying the quarterback room when I get to be with them, and really the entire offense. We've got a terrific group.
Great. Thanks a lot.
Okay, we'll move on to Jasper Sundin from the Daily Cal.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned that quarterback room. I think we've asked you a lot about Chase in your press conferences in the past, but can you talk a little bit about some of those other guys, maybe how they progressed through spring camp, anyone who stuck out to you? I know you guys have both a deep and talented room there, so just your thoughts.
All the quarterbacks have been working really hard at embracing the new system, the new language, the new operation, being more in the huddle, less at the line of scrimmage. So a lot of newness for everybody, but everyone's been doing a super job. Devon Modster is running behind Chase, so he's getting the lion's share of backup reps, which, as we realize, there's not a lot of reps in practice. We've got a limited preparation here as we prepare for our season. So every single play of practice is very, very valuable.
And then how have some of those freshman quarterback, I think you have Zach and Jaden, how have they been? How have they adjusted even in the shortened period?
Really well, really well. Both those guys have jumped right in, and when they get their turns, they do an outstanding job.
Thanks so much, Coach.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go to David Bush from Bear Insider.
Yeah, Coach, you're starting to get into Washington preparation. They've had the same defensive coordinator there for several years, so you've got a track record. What do you expect to see from them? What kind of, do they pressure a lot? What sort of defenses do you expect?
Yeah, there's been some continuity up there at Washington, so we've got plenty of film to study, and we need all of it that we can get. They get pretty exotic at times. They're on the cutting edge of defense, so there's a lot for us to digest and absorb. So we've got our work cut out for us in preparation.
Do they pressure a lot, blitz a lot? How do they get after the quarterback?
Yeah, they do. They've got a good front four, or sometimes it's a good front three, and they can make pressure on their own, but they also can get exotic and bring guys from all over the field, both from the field and the boundary, up the middle, the edges. They do a really terrific job of mixing it up.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, we'll go to Jake Curtis from SI.
Yeah, Bill, regarding a running back, do you prefer to have one guy pretty much carry the load with just occasional breaks, or do you prefer to have two or three guys share the carries fairly evenly?
Well, I think we prefer the bottom line of moving the ball when we run it, and different ways to skin that cat. If you have a guy that is your bell cow that you can hand it to 25 times a game, that's great. But we're also very open-minded to divvying it up, as you mentioned, to 2 to 3 guys, and different guys have different strengths running the ball. So I think we'll really try to tailor it and engineer our running schemes, to fit their traits so they can really be successful. But fortunately here in 2020, we've got a lot of good running backs in our room. So every one of them is going to warrant some high number of touches. And we're going to try to spread it around, especially here early in the season when we may not be in complete football shape. I don't think we're looking for Christopher Brown to carry it 38 times, in one game. We want to be real smart and make sure our guys get into football shape and kind of work our way into it here early in the season.
Is there anything an offensive coordinator can do to limit the risk of injury to a running back?
Well, we're trying not to wear him out or, run the ball 17 times in a row, especially after he has a big 50-yard run. But we're making sure that we monitor them and their stamina. How are they doing? How many big hits are they taking? Of course, the running backs take a tremendous toll with the wear and tear. So that's always at the forefront of our mind as coaches.
Thanks.
Okay, we'll move on to Trace Travers from Rivals.
Yeah, I wanted to continue on that running back kind of talk with when we talked to Coach Aristotle at the beginning of camp. He said he wanted to see guys get into pads. Have you seen more from guys like Damian Moore or Chris or Bradrick now that they've gotten into pads and gotten to show, hey, I can break tackles and whatnot?
Yes, definitely. And a lot of players, not just running backs, when the pads come on, they show different strengths, different traits. You see what they're really about, and it's been a very eye-opening and in a positive way. We're excited about Chris Street, as you mentioned, and Damian Moore and Bradrick Shaw. We know Marcel Dancy, and of course we know Christopher Brown. We've just got some good things. And the one guy who's done outstanding things each and every day, we mentioned this 2 weeks ago, was DeCarlos Brooks. So all of them bring unique skill sets to the table, and we're going to be able to utilize each and every one of them.
What in particular has DeCarlos excelled at?
Well, he's running really great routes out of the backfield, and just his run decisions. When we do hand it to him, he has a great sense for the linebackers, playing cat and mouse with the Mike backer on a certain number of our concepts. And ultimately, he puts the ball in the correct spot right there, as the line is working their tails off to get guys blocked on the front line.
Yeah. And to kind of shift to a different topic, I think when we talked to Chase last weekend, he talked about the offense being pretty much in, just a little couple of bells and whistles to throw in. How are you feeling with how the offense has taken to the learning process of learning your scheme?
Oh, really good. Guys have really embraced it. Worked hard in the meeting room. We've worked hard at practice, both in the periods and also the walkthroughs. We have meetings. We call them meetings on the field, but walking through our plays, a lot of times that's the best way to learn, and feel good about where the guys are with their knowledge base.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go back to David Bush from Bear Insider.
Yeah, Coach, what's the tight end room looking like? Are guys starting to sort themselves out? Have you got kind of an order of rotation there? And has anybody really jumped out in the last few practices?
Colin Moore has jumped out. He made a terrific catch in the end zone a couple of days ago, caught a tipped ball down the sideline yesterday, maybe the day before. He's doing a nice job. Jake Tongas is doing a super job. Those guys are really, really reliable. Nick Alphen has emerged as a Y candidate, doing a lot of nice things on the line of scrimmage with his hand in the dirt. Mojo is healthy and running great routes, doing all kinds of jobs for us, both in the run and pass game. And then we've got the young guy, Jake Muller, who really talented. He's a little small because he's a true freshman, but he battles, he scraps in there and tries to do his best holding up against these big defensive ends and Sam backers.
Is Gavin still in the mix?
Yep. Gavin's in there. I forget about Gavin because he just does so many things for us. We like to split him out too, you'll see, and run some routes. He's just an outstanding athlete.
Okay, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Okay, Jeff Rado.
Yeah, Bill, getting back to what I was asking you about before, just being back in college now. One of the things that I know some pro coaches don't miss is the recruiting part of it. I'm wondering if you were out on the road at all before the shutdown for the pandemic, and just kind of how you view the recruiting part of it, because that's obviously a big part of coaching college football.
Oh, it is. And I really enjoyed recruiting when I was at Virginia, coaching with all those fellas. It was, it's outstanding. So whether I was with Al Groh, Ron Prince was on that staff, Mike Groh, Mike London, Al Golden. I learned a lot from those guys. So I learned a lot here too, recruiting wise. I had to get back in the mode as I have been the last number of months, but I enjoy the balance. And I've always enjoyed the draft when I coached in the NFL. I've enjoyed the balance of evaluating personnel, watching their tape, and a little bit like the draft. Recruiting is a real positive time for young men in their lives. And it's an honor to be part of that process and part of that experience when they do commit and they decide that, hey, this is the place for them. A lot like the draft when a young man gets drafted and they realize one of their goals in life.
And of course, guys who you're looking at in the draft are only 2, 3, 4 years older than the guys you're recruiting out of high school. But do you find that it's a different breed of kid now than it was a dozen years ago when you were at Virginia?
I haven't noticed that. I've not taken note of that, but it's a great, just recruiting in general. You're getting to deal with a great slice of humanity. These young men are driven. They've taken care of their grades. They're outstanding athletes. Their families, have supported them. Whether you deal with their coaches, their counselors, their teachers, their basketball coaches, whoever their champions are, just a great experience because the slice of humanity is just top notch. So I enjoy that element of coaching, whether it's at the pro or the college level.
So it sounds like when you got heading back to college, that you didn't blink on that. That was good with you, huh?
Well, yeah, I enjoyed. I enjoy the balance. The X's and O's are great, but I also enjoy the balance of the personnel and also the recruiting part too. It kind of rounds out the day in the correct way.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
I see one final one in the queue. If anybody has one after that, please put them in now. But other than that, we'll wrap up with Trace Travers.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, a couple weeks ago, you said Will Craig has kind of solidified his place on the offensive line at left tackle. I wanted to know if that had still held up and what Valentino Daltoso's role is continuing to be.
Yeah, both those guys are doing a nice job, and Will has been doing a super job there at tackle. We swing him from time to time, and Val can fill in everywhere. Val's playing all the positions with the exception of center. So Val is an incredible player, one of our leaders. So he's really, helping us really set the stage for a terrific opener, we hope, versus Washington.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, any final things? You got about 2 seconds left. Other than that, Coach, thanks a lot for your time. Really
Thank you.
appreciate it.